So you're thinking about divorce or going through divorce, and you want to know, how does your divorce compare to other divorces throughout the nation in terms of cost? That's the topic of today's video. Hi, my name is Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm, and I've been practicing family law in the great state of Texas for the last 19 years. According to the Institute for Family Studies, we are at a 50-year low in the rate of divorces. That's good news. We have about 14.9 of every 1,000 marriages ending in divorce, which again is a low. And the length of marriages is also increasing. In 2010, the average marriage was 19 years, and in 2019, the average marriage was 19.8 years. So people are staying married, they're getting married longer, but yet still, last year, 746,000 divorces were filed in the United States. So the amount of divorces is still very, very high. The average cost of a divorce in all of the United States, including Puerto Rico in the territories, is $19,458 per couple. That's a lot of money. And if you have children, the costs are going to increase by about 40% over that amount. So it's about $7,232 additional if you have a child on that average. Now, how does Texas compare to that? Well, Texas is the third most expensive state to get a divorce in it, with the individual on average paying $17,456. Now, that's individual, that's not a couple. As far as a couple goes, you multiply that by 2 and get $34,912. So, no doubt, getting a divorce is very expensive. And what are the factors that you can do to reduce that amount? Well, the number one factor, in my opinion, that you can use to reduce the cost of a divorce is the amount of conflict. Because the total amount of the divorce has to do with the amount of controversy that's involved. So if you have no controversy at all, you might get away with doing an uncontested divorce and paying very little except for filing fees, and getting away with very small costs. If you have a high conflict case, however, you're going to be spending as much as the other side is willing to fight you about. And there are other various factors to decide whether your divorce is going to be the more expensive or the less expensive. One of the factors that comes into play is your average income. People with low income will usually spend less on actual divorcing than people with high income. And the place where you live is also a very big factor in the rates of divorce, the rates of divorce payments that you're paying, or the cost for the divorce. So if you live in a rural area, you're probably going to spend a lot less than if you lived in an urban area, such as where I practice in Houston. So we can tell you what the average in Texas is, but that doesn't really indicate a lot, because Texas is very diverse in its rural versus urban areas. The more key of the factor is the level of controversy that you have, and a lot of that also has to do with the attorney you select. Attorneys' rates are determined by the attorney, and the attorney will put out his hourly rate at whatever he thinks the market will bear, or what he thinks is fair, or what is required in a particular case. And that can obviously vary wildly. The idea of the hourly rate being more or less is as far as the consumer should be, how effective is that attorney? And I would also say it's how efficient is that attorney, because you can get somebody who has a very low hourly rate, relatively speaking, but they're not very efficient, and they bill you for a lot of things that may or may not be necessary to your case. But you could have somebody with a higher hourly rate who's being very efficient and billing you less frequently, but at that higher rate. The point is that you need to keep track of those things. You need to review the invoices from your attorney, and you need to ask them if there's anything that's unusual in there, such as maybe double charges and things like that. Most attorneys are very careful about that, but you know, buyer beware. You want to make sure you do that. So how much is your divorce and how does it compare with the rest of the nation? That's not really the correct question, because it all has to depend on your particular divorce. The cost for your divorce is going to depend on your particular set of situations. And that's why it's so frustrating for both the client and the attorney when we're making some predictions about costs, because it's very hard to make a prediction. It has a lot to do with a lot of factors that keep moving. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any comments about it, please leave a comment below. And if there's anything we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. My name is Sean Palmer with the Palmer Law Firm, where we can't protect your heart, but we can protect your rights.